today, it's because you're here for transformation and raising consciousness. Would you guys agree? Say yes.
Yes.
It's going to be group participation, so enthusiasm counts even more. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Enthusiasm count? Okay, well, this was based on a book that I wrote, Go More Powerful Than You Think, and keep that story kind of brief, but the way it originated was I was raised in a very Catholic religious family, but we always practiced spirituality at home and religion on the weekends. So I just believe that we're all here for a purpose. I felt like we're here to do something, that there's a reason God created us. There's a reason we're walking on this planet, and we have a purpose to fulfill. So I was blessed as a chiropractor to be able to experience that. And I just noticed a lot of people didn't have that, so I always had empathy. And then going through, I told this story last time. I had a wife that had cancer, and she passed away. And 2 weeks before she passed away, she said, I didn't know if I did what I was supposed to do here. And the level of empathy I felt, very bad, obviously, in empathy, because, and at that moment I said to myself, I don't ever want anybody to feel that way again. So, how many people are into self-improvement?
I am.
How many people saw the TMT this morning? I know you did, right?
I did.
And then you realize that, and you read every book, and a spiritual book, and there's this book over here, and this book over here, and this book over here. And we all have knowledge, and knowledge is in our mind. And how many people besides me read the book, could speak the vocabulary, but your life didn't match? Did anybody ever go through that phase?
Yes, me.
Right? Because you might try and apply knowledge, and they talk to people, hey, here's a great book. I was talking about this morning. Here's a great book. You read it. Oh, yeah, I read that. They could spit out the language, and then you look at the way they live their life. So I just came with this uncanny ability to see pieces of a puzzle that were scattered around and put them into a system. And I was actually trying to develop a chiropractic rehab system. I came up with the acronym H.E.A.L.E.D, and then all of a sudden it hit me. I started getting all these visions of what it really was, and this was the answer to help people get past their pain, to be able to align with the fact that we are divinity first, that we're a spirit in a human body, we're incarnated to come here and fulfill a purpose on this physical plane. And there's tons of science and research that shows people that have purpose, they're more fulfilled, they're healthier, they have better energy, they don't have the same disease. And people that don't have a purpose tend to stagnate, they're sicker, they're less happy, they tend to have more diseases. And so that's just, and I think as a world's problem, I think this is a world problem, where people are living their life, they may be successful, but they don't know their purpose. And I find that's more common than not common. And so what You Are More Powerful is really about introducing a system called H.E.A.L.E.D. It's a 6-step system. 6 steps to living a more powerful, peaceful, inspired, soul purpose life. So how many does peaceful and inspired sound good?
Yes.
Internal peace. How many people have had enough pain in their life?
Yes.
Through some pain.
Yes.
And at some point, Deepak Chopra says people find spirituality when they want to end suffering. So the older you get, you find the less you want to suffer. So,
That is true.
Hopefully we'll learn that sooner or later. So what's H.E.A.L.E.D stand for? Quick review. H is honor God within yourself. What's that mean? We understand that we are divinity first. We're really a hologram. We have our humanity, and then who are we really from the inside out? Are we spirit first? Okay, so once you tap into that, once you realize that, your whole power, this is where you are more powerful than you think. You can tap into a power that's way bigger than us, right? John Mayer, bigger than my body, right? Because we are bigger and we have more energy than our body. Exercise loving yourself. Once you get that, then you really learn how to love. Once you love yourself, then you can move past your past. You can get forgiveness. Once you release your past, your consciousness transcends. You literally transcend to a new level of consciousness once you get past all your stuff, right? Once you get past that, you can live in presence. Once you find present time joy and peace, you quiet the emotional noise, then you can hear the whispers of God. Because God has whispers, but when our noise is too loud, sometimes the noise outside is a lot louder than the noise inside when our reference point is outside. Sometimes the chaotic emotional noise inside our head is so loud there's no way we can hear whispers. Then once you hear those whispers, you establish your purpose and mission, and you deliver it to the world. Tonight is all about honor God within yourself. So you were here for the introduction, you guys, last week. We just went through the 6 steps. Right now, for the next 6 months, once a month, we're going to go take each section and break it down. Now, if you take this, not just as knowledge, but as being, as what?
Being.
Meaning you create the experience in your life, you will transform from the inside out. There's no question. I look at who I was and what I believed about myself before I had to live through this system. So once H.E.A.L.E.D came upon me, there was another big challenge. I had no freaking idea what to write. So with each chapter, I would just pray, I would get things downloaded, I would find books, and it took me 9 years to write this book because I had to live it. So 6 steps, 9 years, right? And there's no question I'm a more clear version of myself. I've taken hundreds of people through this with my chiropractic coaching, because I also found when you're an entrepreneur, when you're fulfilling your soul purpose, you're only going to be as successful as fulfilling that purpose as you are as a person. It's really how you feel about yourself determines everything. It's a relationship with yourself that is the foundation of everything, because a relationship with yourself can also determine the relationship with God. How you view yourself, right? We get that impression of whether or not we're worthy. So, and all those things were great. So when we look at honor God within yourself, I like this picture because this is really who we are. See, we're a physical being, but we're an energetic being. We radiate light. We are energy. We are life force energy. Say, I am.
I am.
Touch your chest. Life force energy.
Life force energy.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
You are life force energy first. So when you honor God within yourself, what you're really doing is honoring life force. You also honor your humanity, but we are life force first. We are the life force that animates this body, meaning brings it to life. And now we're learning, there's a whole science on epigenetics, how our belief systems determine our genetics, determine how healthy we are, our disease. We can actually change genetics through belief systems. There's actually receptor sites on the cells that are specifically for perception. So basically what it is your body is adapting to your emotions and what you believe all the time. Your mind is wiring. So we are alive beings in physical form with a spirit that is driving this physical tissue. And how do we develop? The real question is, you have beliefs that are creating not only your body, but everything that you're doing and everything that you envision in your life. And that's really the question. So you're not a human being on a spiritual journey. What's that mean? We're not a human first seeking spiritual experiences. We're actually spirit first having a human experience. Why is that so different? That's just like twisting, hey there, it's like a hologram. You know what a hologram is? When you're a little kid, you turn it a little bit, change the picture. So this is a reference point. Our humanity comes with all the emotions of humanity. Anything from total misery and depression all the way into bliss, right? Humanity contains ego, contains all these things. Spirit, divinity, is a consciousness above our humanity. That appreciates humanity. So when we have that reference point, then we can actually appreciate all of our experiences. So when we're in spirit, reference point first, when we're divinity first, meaning we're God-centered first within ourselves. Because all that energy is the same. Now, whether you use God or the universe or whatever it is, it's just semantics and vocabulary. There is a universal energy that keeps the planets in alignment. Would you guys agree? Yes. It keeps nature working perfectly, right? How everything is in balance. And what I talked about on the TMT this morning is the problem is religion teaches us that we're born in a sinful nature. So my question as a kid was really right here. Well, let's go here first. I'll come back. God created us in His image. So how can He create us in His image? Create the whole universe that's in perfect balance, in total, almost inexplainable perfection. And then the one imperfection is us. Yet we're supposed to be rulers of that. Like that never made sense. Why would a God who's loving, non-judgmental, forgives us before we even sin, knows every hair in our head, you can quote, make all the quotes, create create us with free will, and then damn us to hell based on those choices. You're damned to eternity, but I love you, you're my son, you're my child. And what it does is it creates a spiritual self-esteem problem. Now, this is how I perceived it, right? And to me, that's not truth. It was incongruent. So what really is happening is here's the triune of you. We're spirit, mind, body. Now this is an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle, it's a sacred geometry. It's the strongest geometric structure on Earth. In fact, you look at the pyramids in Egypt, little FYI, pyramids are actually tombs. Pyramids are actually like magnets. They attract universal energy, and anything within that pyramid, because of the magnetic force of a pyramid, is preserved. That's why pyramids are tombs. And they're very strategically placed in very magnetic, high magnetic areas in the earth. So there was actually an experiment done. These guys took a copper wire, they created a pyramid, they put meat in the pyramid, raw meat, and they put raw meat on the counter outside the pyramid. The meat on the outside, they left it there, deteriorated and got spoiled. The meat in the copper pyramid, because copper wire attracts magnetic energy, was preserved.
Wow.
Now also in chiropractic, because she's loaning us her chiropractic clinic, Dr. Lisa Parisa, everybody needs me on chiropractic care. So talk to her. Our spine and the way the muscles attach 30, 60, 90 degree angles, which means the muscles attach to the spine in a equilateral triangle structure. So we are built, we have the normal curves of the spine. Energetically, we have 100% nerve flow happening through our body, nerve energy animating and bringing life to our tissues. That kind of cool little extra fact. So, I mean, as far as, we all the muscles pull in the spine 30, 60, 90 degrees. Not that you really care about that, but I thought it was really freaking interesting. How about you guys? So spirit, mind, body, what's that? This is life force energy. Life force energy, our mind directs life force energy. So imagine if you're spirit first, you're like a fire hose that won't shut off. You are constantly creating. Your mind directs that fire hose. Now imagine if you had a fire hose that won't shut off. Would you have to be careful where you pointed it? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
So our mind determines focus. That's like the crosshairs. Body is a physical manifestation. So body, if you don't embody things, you don't have the experience. Your body is a tool that you create with. That's why we're a spirit in a physical body. That is how you manifest through your body into manifestation. So we use our body as a tool. That's going to be important. Because what I'm going to do is give you knowledge, but if you can't have the experience, it doesn't mean anything. Knowledge doesn't mean anything. But if you create the experience in your body, you'll rewire your brain, you'll rewire your genetics, you'll add more energy and inspiration in your body. You can literally change. This is the best anti-aging system on the planet. The state of total inner peace is the most powerful anti-aging system. You want to stay young? Then be spiritually evolved. You don't age the same. Why? Because pain and lower consciousness, right? That breaks people down, it makes you sick. You guys know that, right? So what I want to do is take you through an experience. What do you want to go through?
An experience.
Tons of enthusiasm. How about you guys?
Yes.
You want to go through?
Yes.
Say an experience.
An experience.
Okay, thank you so much. So here's the law of conservation of energy. So guess what? This law means energy can't be created neither be created nor destroyed. Rather, it can only be transformed or transferred from one form to another. Now that's according to the vibrational frequency. So if we take water, higher vibrational frequency is steam. You slow that vibration down, it becomes liquid. You slow it down even more, it becomes ice. But energy is not, is there a difference between the steam and the ice in the amount of molecules? No, but they're more separated, there's more space, and they vibrate faster. Right? So what it is spirit comes into our body. Why do spirits not have physical form? Because they're vibrating at a very high consciousness, very high rate. The vibration rate, frequency, is very high. Disease doesn't, we hear disease doesn't exist in heaven. Why? Because the vibration rate, it's not solid. So there is no physical tissue. There was a book I read years ago, The Ascending Masters. There's several people documented that have been able to control through their mind the vibration rate of their body and actually speed up the vibration rate and change their physical form.
Wow.
Now these are monks, and it's actually a book. It's called Ascended Masters.
Like 10 levels.
Yeah, and it's like documented people that have ascended, like Jesus. So here's the thing. So it comes in, we slow that vibration down, we inhabit this body, and then we leave, it increases the vibration rate again. So the thing is, how do we know that we're spirit first? How do we know? Experience, do you really know? So what do you choose to believe? So we can wait till we pass, and then as your spirit leaves, you realize my eyes are open. What's that mean? Then you may realize as you come out of your body that your spiritual eyes have always been open. So your physical anatomical eyes may close. How you doing?
Good. Sorry I'm late.
No worries, brother. Hey, come on over here. That your spiritual eyes open, and then at that moment will you realize that I've been this way the whole time. Do we need to go through that experience to be able to see that our spiritual eyes have always been open? And that's if we are divinity first. So the question is, we can wait till that time, or we can choose to believe something different. So the question is, which belief system would give you a more powerful life? Now, I've had personal experiences where I have encountered spirits, including my own. Has anybody had other experiences? It could be yes or no. Is it anybody, because this is group interaction, had other spiritual experiences like that? Has anybody ever seen spirits, apparitions, anything, or had any? I'm just curious. Okay? So, we can wait till that time, or we can choose to believe something different. And here's the reality. You live what you believe. This is how your mind works. You develop subconscious beliefs, you live what you believe, and that's it. So the question is, do your belief systems give you the life you want? So what have you believed about yourself? And then what you believe about yourself, is it giving you the identity, how you feel about yourself, and giving you the life you want? So that's a literal question. What do you guys think? Have those belief systems about yourself changed over time?
Yes.
Is there anybody that would like to share maybe what they used to believe and what they believe now? And the difference? Not really? You don't want to share that?
Somebody else.
So our belief systems tend to come, I've taken many people through many breakthroughs, hundreds of people, because when we're born, when we're in our mother's womb till we're 2, we're on delta brainwaves, very slow brainwaves. So, and that's why kids learn languages so fast, because what they're doing is they're wiring behaviors. They're associating emotions with conditions. And then once you're 2 to 7, then the brain picks up a little bigger theta brainwaves, and those are a little bit slower. But this is why kids can absorb so much information. They're information sponges. But what they're really doing is associating emotion with conditions. The majority of the challenges that we have in our life, throughout our life, were belief systems that we developed before we're 7 years old. We have these, your life is like a chain. It's like multiple links. Traditional psychology, let's say you get divorced at 35, okay, or 45, whatever it is, and then you have all this emotional trauma. Traditional psychology that's a 37th link. They want to talk about the 37th link. Doesn't matter, because you got 36 links before there that are already intact. You're not going to fix the chain. But when you can go back to the original link and you can clear that belief, the whole chain dissipates. And that doesn't happen just by talking about it. You literally have to identify that initial link and release that energy from your body. And once you do that, your whole life, your whole impression of yourself changes. Now we're going to go through some of these, not all tonight, But so some of these in the other parts. So when you identify those, man, things you feel energy release from your body that you don't even realize you're carrying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we go through our life based on those links and we identify beliefs. So now the thing is, this would be an exercise for you guys to do, is what beliefs do you have that may not be congruent with either your life purpose or getting you what you want in your life? Meaning a relationship that you want, the career success that you want, how you feel about yourself, the inner peace, and how you view your relationships and the outside world all comes from the inside. So if you look at what are your visions, not your goals, because your goals can come from wants. There's a difference between wants and desires. Wants can be things emotionally driven, wants and things you feel like you need or you want that come from your mind. And that can come from many emotional needs. Desires come from your heart. Like it says, God will give you all the desires from your heart. Desires are more spiritually based. Does that make sense? So there's a difference between mind-driven wants and desires from your heart. You know what I mean? Like you know when you have wants, but you know you shouldn't do that, right? I mean, we all know, some people listen to their intuition, but you wanted something. The problem is when you're really strong and you get what you want, like you want something and then you push for it and then you get it and then you realize it's got all this other stuff attached to it that you don't want. Anybody besides me ever done stuff like that? You force relationships, business deals. You want it, this person can get me here, I want this success, I want all that, and then the whole thing flops, and there's shitloads of money. Anybody ever do stuff like that, right? Because that's a want up here. Sometimes we're driven by our mind, and we know it's not a desire of our heart. So really, this is it. If you know what your purpose is, how many people feel they're living their purpose right now? It's okay if you aren't, okay, it's okay if you are or aren't.
Partially.
Yeah.
Moving in the direction.
Moving in the direction.
In the process, so there
Yes.
you go. Now the question is, what beliefs, if you're in the process, then that's a great place to be, because then you say, if you see the outcome and you know what the purpose is and you know the outcome, then what beliefs would I have to have now about myself that would align with where I want to be in 5 years, 10 years? Desire,
Okay.
right? Because that's a life and soul purpose. When you feel it in your heart and you feel it in your being, it's typically that thing that just won't go away. We'll get into that in a later section, how you find your purposes. So when we can align our belief system, align our mind now, and we're spirit moving through our mind is a very powerful tool. We'll go through this in a sec. But when we can align our spirit and our mind and we establish that congruency, our power to manifest becomes exponentially greater. Our soul is a living potential of God. Potential is possibility unrealized. So what's that mean? We're spirit, right? So that's potential. That's life force energy. How we feel about that, how we view it, what we apply in our life, what goes through our mind. Because just because we're life force energy, our mind is like the crosshairs. So if we are constant life force, we're constantly creating, what are we focused on? So I went through this on another thing I put on Instagram. When you're going whitewater rafting, what does the guy tell you? Don't look at the boulder. Paddle, right, and look at the clear space. When you're ripping around a racetrack, don't look at the wall. You know what I mean? Look at going through the turn. If you're, for adrenaline junkies, you're in a slide with a car, don't hit the brakes, right? Don't look at the thing you're trying to avoid. If you're in a full slide, you're supposed to hit the gas and look at where you want to go. And that's where the car goes, right? So that's a metaphor for what are you focused on? Are you focused on your vision? Are you focused on obstacles? And so those are two different belief systems. Those are two different habits. So how do we establish, if we've already been wired by the time we're age 7, and it's wired in our subconscious mind, then how do we change that? You change it through habituation. You are through what you habituate. You are by your habits. You can literally, through discipline, change your habits, rewire your subconscious mind, change your beliefs, but you have to habituate it. It's got to be consistent. If it's not consistent, you're not going to do it. So what this is about introducing you to some principles that you can go back and apply in your life and actually feel the power of your spirit, feel your life force energy, become conscious of it, and then consciously direct it. How cool is that?
Cool.
Is that pretty cool? Mm-hmm. Think that would change your life?
Yes.
It's a little bit or a lot?
A lot.
Thank you. Knowing this, we can adopt the truth. The what?
The truth.
That we're perfect beings. Our spirit has no flaws or imperfections. So all this stuff about we're born into sin and all that stuff is religion, man. Religion is a great business. Go to church on Sunday. Go to confession. I grew up going to confession every Saturday. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's all good. It creates a great structure. People need structure. Jesus came to the world and he was crucified by religion because what did he preach? Independence. That you can have a relationship with God. That you can do all these things or greater. It says the Word became flesh. So this isn't about religion. These are about people that have truly mastered themselves, became conscious of their life force energy, projected that through their mind, and created life-changing things in the world. That's called your purpose. What's it called?
Purpose.
It's your purpose. So do you think we come here to be selfish, or do you think we come here to live a more fulfilling life to contribute to the lives of others?
Absolutely.
And most of the time it's our story of pain that becomes our purpose, our hero story. How did we make it through those challenges? And then put it on video and put it online, right? But the bottom line is, our spirit has no flaws or imperfections. Once you believe that I am created perfectly. Now here's the deal. Because you think, man, I make mistakes, I do all this thing. That's the beauty of our humanity. If everybody was perfect, it'd be pretty freaking boring. How many people would think that, right? So when you're in a relationship, it's really learning how to find the beauty in the differences. Because how many times in a relationship our differences are really freaking irritating with your partners? Can that be like, why can't they think just like me? Well, I had this friend that used to say he was married for, I think it was his fourth marriage, but anyway, they finally made it work. But he would say his wife would tell him if we were the same, one of us wouldn't be needed. And that pretty much meant she was talking about him, right? So the thing is learning to appreciate our humanity while we reference our divinity. What's that mean? Hey, we're going to do dumb stuff. Are we always going to follow our intuition? Are we always going to do the right thing? Hell no would be the answer. However, the more you love yourself, the easier it is to do the right thing. You know what I mean? That's in the next section.
Can't wait to get there.
Yeah. So if you knew who you are, Neil Donald Walsh, that you're the most magnificent, most remarkable, most splendid being God has ever created, you would never fear. Now that's fascinating. Now I know these are words, but the question is, do you believe that? So we can look at this as knowledge, or we can breathe it into us. Breath interrupts thought. Breath interrupts thought. What's breath do?
Interrupts thought.
Gets you out of your mind.
Yep.
Now, if we're going to change this, we have to experience where? In our what?
Heart.
Heart, body. We got to experience in our body and in our heart. Do you know heart has 5,000 times more manifesting energy than mind? Your heart, this is actually scientifically researched and documented, heart energy is 5,000 times more manifesting power than your thoughts.
I believe that.
That's pretty intense. So when you have heart-filled desires with heart intention, what emotion, begins with an L, emanates and radiates from your heart? Love. Thank you very much. One of the most powerful manifesting energies is love. Thank you very much. Where does that come from?
The heart.
It comes from the heart, right? So that's a powerful manifesting energy. Now when we can live there, what if we actually vibrated at that level? What if we actually became conscious of that? Then where would fear be? Love is how we're created. Fear is learned. Now the thing is, okay, so I get it, it's knowledge, but how do you drive it in your body? First of all, one of the top functions of the brain is to adapt to the environment. Like the brain sends energy down the spinal cord, all the organs, heals your body, right? Nerve energy heals. However, your body is wired more outside in than inside out, meaning you have to adapt to your environment or you're going to die. Right? Otherwise, some saber-toothed tiger is going to kill you. I mean, you go way back. This is all about survival. The brain cares about one thing. It cares about survival. That's our bottom line. It wants you to survive, and it'll do freaking anything for you to survive. Right? So we're wired from the outside in. Now, this comes from NLP. So when we touch ourselves, we stimulate our proprioceptive activity. We stimulate our sensory nervous system. And when you affirm and you feel it in your body and you use breath, you create a sensation in your body. And this is why affirmations don't work, is because thought energy is not as powerful as the vibratory energy in your body. Your body is a vehicle that your spirit inhabits to create on the physical plane. So when we master our body and using our body as a tool, as a what?
Tool.
Then we actually shift and we create new beliefs. Because can you say affirmations and totally not believe them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you say an empowering affirmation that's totally empowered but yet feel fear in your body?
Yes.
What do you think you're going to attract? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that thought has power over how you feel in your body? Or does your body have more power? What do you think?
Thoughts have more power, right?
Energy, how your body vibrates. Now, thoughts can change vibrational energy in your body.
Okay.
So when we do this, so we look at this as knowledge, right? Then you create habits. What do you create?
Habits.
How do you rewire from fear into love? Say habits.
Habits.
That's what it is. It's habits, how you rewire your brain. Right? It's just like going to the gym. Now imagine, because you're at the gym, like clockwork, man, all the time, right? So, great physique. What if we do our other habits like that? What if we breathe in and say, I'm magnificent. Say, I'm magnificent.
I'm
I'm
magnificent.
remarkable.
I'm remarkable.
Do you guys believe that?
I
Can you
never said
participate?
it.
Say, I'm remarkable.
I'm
I'm
remarkable.
splendid.
I'm
Touch
splendid.
yourself. I'm the most amazing being God has ever created.
I'm the most amazing being God has ever created.
Is that enthusiasm? Now you can say, I'm not the most amazing person. Look at all these other people who do whatever. But guess what? You guys, this is all knowledge, but when you believe, there's only one you with one purpose in your eyes and your hair and your personality. There's only one with your purpose. Now it could be other people have similar purposes, but they're not doing it the way you do it. There's only one person that can fulfill that purpose exactly the way you do it, because you have very specific gifts, and that's it. Nobody else can do it like you would do it. That's why you're here. Now they can do similar things, but it's going to be exactly the way you do it. No. That means there's people that are waiting for us to get our shit together, so to speak.
That's right.
So we can bring our story, bring our purpose, because there's other spirits in human form that are waiting to go through this evolution too. So when you see that we are responsible to humanity, then how can we, number one, discover our purpose, number two, fulfill it? We got to get on a humanity consciousness. And what's that mean? We got to get past ourselves. That means we got to get past our own humanity, get into our divinity, so we can contribute at the highest level to help and serve more people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you guys buy that?
Yes. Yes.
Or is it just an opinion? Hey, there's no such thing as getting to heaven. There's only a knowing that you're already there. We are immersed in a spirit world. We're taught in religion, heaven's outside, it's the man up in the sky, it's all these things. But we're immersed in a spirit world. And what's it say in our Lord's Prayer? To create heaven on earth. That's our intention. Like you talk to some people, I can't wait to die and go to heaven. It's like, you're already in it, man. That is the freaking illusion. You don't get it. You're already immersed in it. You're already immersed in a physical world, in a spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a mind blower perspective right here. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yes. Go for it.
So if you look at this, physical matter is second. Consciousness is being. Consciousness is not thinking. So in other words, a higher consciousness Spirituality is a place of being. It's not thinking. Thinking is mind. Spirit, mind, body. Thinking is mind. It's not spirit. Spirit is being. Like a state of inner peace is a state of being. It's not a state of thinking. Now you can think peaceful thoughts when you're in a state of peace. You're probably not going to have more aggressive, self-deprecating thoughts when you have total inner peace and unconditional love in your body. Consciousness is being. So if you look at the physical world, is created by general consciousness, meaning the general consciousness of humanity. What's an example of general consciousness? Wars. Right? Wars, economy, politics. That's all general
Racism.
consciousness. Now here's the thing, we have our own individual consciousness. Would you agree that two people can be standing right next to each other living in two totally different worlds? By cultures, belief systems. So we have general consciousness, and then we have our individualized consciousness. Now if you look at it, if we are spiritual beings, we exist before physical manifestation. So if you look at all this physical stuff, and then you get into consciousness like, wow, this was created from thought. Somebody had a thought that put this piece of chiropractic rehab into physical manifestation. When you get into that space where you're actually before the physical world, you look at the physical world as fascinating. Because look at all this creation. Somebody created this with consciousness. Does that make sense? So when we exist before the physical world, before things happen, number one, you can appreciate your world. Number two, you can also create it. Because you exist before the noise. Like this is all noise. So what's another metaphor for this example? If you look at a musician, they're playing a song. That's the physical manifestation. But look at the thought of the musician. So a lot of times they're not even thinking. They're just playing. You know what I mean? Look at a professional athlete. They do things, they don't have time to think. You got a split second, they just act. And what do you see? The physical manifestation of that skill in sport. But they're the consciousness before the sport. The musician is the consciousness before the music. Imagine if you had a consciousness that was before the physical world. Is that pretty intense?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just move on.
That means talent.
What?
That means talent.
That does mean talent. What it means is ability.
Yeah.
It's ability and responsibility. Because that means, number one, you're not attached to the physical things outside, because your true power inside knows that all this can change that fast. So when you have that conscious, it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter how bad it looks. It doesn't matter what impending doom is, because all of that shall pass. But when you can remain in the inner state of peace, your problems just seem to dissipate on their own. So anyway, so you're already in heaven. The irony is most people think they have to leave where they are to get where they want to be, so they leave heaven and go through hell. So that's like, if you take your porch light in the middle of the day, turn on the porch light at 12 noon, do you notice much light coming out of that light on a bright sunny day? But at 12 midnight, do you notice the light?
Yes.
Is the amount of light any different?
No.
So what we do in our humanity is we have to step into the darkness to be able to go back and say, oh yeah, there's the light over there. But the problem is we're in the dark. So in a sense, in our universe, go back into the light. When we were in the light all the time. And that's what it is. We're already immersed in heaven. Heaven is a consciousness. But we have to go through hell to appreciate what heaven is. That's the pain of our humanity. And that's what we have to learn. That's taking the human journey. But when you have the reference point of your divinity, then you learn hell, metaphorical hell, is a choice. And you can go in and out of it. But when you have a divine reference point, when you're in it, you know how to get out. That's really the important thing. Because are we going to end up there? Yeah, we're human. It's part of appreciating your humanity. So that's part of appreciating. You know what? I went into the fire. I went into the darkness. But I am the light. I can shine my way right out of here. I can go back into the light. That's mastering yourself. Because are you going to go into the dark?
Yes.
Yes. But when you have the ability, when you have what?
The ability.
The ability and the skill
Yeah.
to be able to master yourself, and in a breath, be able to take a breath, get back to that divine reference point with one breath, because you've habituated it so many times that you can be in the worst situation. So, Jada and I are in a relationship, two very passionate people. You know, I mean, I get fired up probably more often than she does, but when she gets fired up, it's like I can't get fired up, because by the time she gets fired up, it's all going to end up bad. It's not going in a good direction. I just know that. So, you know, there's times when I'm like, fuck. And then I look at, what am I experiencing right now? A shitload of pain, and I can get loud, and she can get pretty loud too.
Oh,
And so,
really?
it takes a lot for her to get loud. I get loud way easier, way faster. But the bottom line is, how many times do I come up to you, like I'll be pissed off and I'll walk off, and then within seconds I come back, you know what, I don't want to fight, I'm sorry, and I kiss your hand, because there's just things that are more important. So to be able to have the skill, to be able to manage your state in a second and realize what's important, and it's not that. So that means to be immersed in hell and feel it in your body. And the problem is, because you feel it in your body, you think it's real. So this is another thing I tell her. There would be a misinterpretation. She's hurt, she's upset, blah, blah, blah. And I tell her, look, that's not it. Here's really what happened, blah, blah, blah. And you know, it's like, okay, get over it. You know, and it's like, because you feel it in your body, you think it's real. You think that emotion and what you experience is real because your body rules. Physiology rules. You believe what you feel. That's it. So when you make an emotional misinterpretation, you believe it's real because you feel it in your body, and it's not. That's how powerful your body is. So we had this point, we came up to a couple things. Just an example of using your body. And we're like, okay, this is a defining moment. We in the next 5 minutes, we're either driving separately or driving home, you know? And so one thing I said is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself in your shoes, and I'm going to see everything from your perspective as you talk to me. What I'd like to do is invite you to do the same. So when I talk, put yourself in my shoes, see from my perspective. And then we went over 8 friggin' problems that what I thought were all deal breakers, and what we realized, all of them were misperceptions. They were all misperceptions. But the point of that story is, because you feel it in your body, you think it's real. That's how powerful your body is. When you master your body, when you master it to get to a high level of consciousness, it also gives you the ability, the what?
The ability.
To master it when you're in your lowest consciousness. When you can master it at both ends of the spectrum, is when you're beginning to, your divinity becomes more powerful than your humanity. And with that, everything in your life changes.
Well, how do we get there is the big question.
Well, we're going through it already. This is just step 1. It's like, fine, can we get there already? Knowledge becomes wisdom through what? Experience, that's it. Knowledge becomes wisdom through experience. What's that mean? Knowledge isn't getting you anywhere. Knowledge is in your mind. If you don't apply it, it never becomes wisdom. Wisdom goes from mind to body. That's it. You know it when it's in your body. You know, the 4 stages of learning, right, are unconscious incompetence. That's when you don't know what you don't know. Conscious incompetence, that's when you know that you really don't know something. Conscious competence is when you actually develop skill. And unconscious competence is when you can do something without thinking. That's when it's in your body. Our responsibility, in my opinion, is get to the level of unconscious competence in our divinity, meaning I don't have to think about it. When I am outside of it, I can think about it, and I have conscious competence. I have the skill to get back to the unconscious competent level. When you do that, you master your humanity. Your whole life and everything around you and every person and every relationship automatically shifts to a higher level. Heaven is not a location, but an inner realm of consciousness. We will remain unfulfilled till we nurture the seeds of divinity inside us. Deepak Chopra, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. What's that mean? Every spirit seeks to know itself. We seek to know that consciousness. Why do you think there's self-improvement? Why do you think you have all these spiritual books? Why do you seek those? Why are you sitting here? It's because you're seeking something greater. You feel a pull in here. How many people feel a pull in here that wants to know more about yourself and take yourself to another level? Why is that? Because you feel that in your body. Because that's your spirit pulling you to the next level. So here's 4 subconscious beliefs that I think if you can believe these on a subconscious level, then you're going to have power over conditions outside of you. Number 1, your spiritual being first. Is that powerful?
Yes.
That means I'm connected to the universe. I am.
The universe?
God moves through me. Well, we are the universe. We're carbon-based, same thing as all the stars and the planets and all life forms. Right? So our physical body, carbon-based, but we are life force energy.
So we're just a body and a spirit.
We're spirit in a body, right?
Yeah.
So we're spirit in a body. So the universe has intention. What's that mean? Everything in your life has a reason. Your greatest pain has a reason. Your greatest bliss has a reason. And what it's doing is guiding you toward your soul purpose. God always works everything in your favor. Now, when you believe that, when you believe subconsciously that God always works everything in your favor, that means your greatest pain has a benefit. It's giving you something that's going to move you toward your soul purpose or give you some type of growth. So we'll go over in a later slide. There's 3 things our pain gives us: courage, skill, and faith. It gives us courage. Because do you need courage? The bigger your purpose, do you need more courage to face bigger problems? Right? Do you need skill? You need emotional skill, you need spiritual skill, you need physical skill to get to the next level. And sometimes all you have is faith. I mean, have you ever had a situation in your life where I have no freaking idea how I'm going to get through this? And your whole life can change in a second. And sometimes all you have when it looks like the whole world is against you, all you have is faith. Yet people with faith, research shows, tend to be happier. They tend to be more successful. They tend to have less disease because they have a spiritual awareness. And they look at their problems differently. Right?
So that means they're less stressed out.
They're less stressed out because at some point you just go, fuck it, I can't do it. Pardon my language. I can't do this. You know what I mean? So sometimes I've done that with Jada. Like, okay, I don't know what to do. So you know what? I'm just going to be my best and put my relationship at God's feet. I do that with my business. You know, I'm here to serve you. You provide, you're my supply. I'm just going to be a faithful servant. I'm just going to love the people that come to me. I'm going to serve them at the highest. I'm going to be at the best, and you're going to do my marketing. And you will fulfill your soul purpose. Now imagine if you believe that. Because are you going to run into challenges on your life purpose? Are you going to run into massive freaking obstacles?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I say, if you make $100,000 a year, you have $20,000 problems. You make $1 million a year, you have $200,000 problems. You make $200 million a year, you got $80 million problems. Right? You make $1 billion a year, you have $200 million, $300 million problems. So the bigger you get, the bigger your problems are. That's why it gives you courage, gives you skill, gives you faith. So the bigger you are, the bigger problems you're going to have. The bigger your purpose, the more courage and faith and skill you need to have. And that doesn't come just through pleasure. You think? How do you grow? I mean, if we grew through pleasure, life would be freaking amazing. But how do we grow? Through
pain.
what?
Through
pain.
pain.
That's part of your humanity. So once you accept it, then you realize with every pain I can find the gift. When you can find the gift, you can release the pain. And then you have gratitude. The faster you find the gift, faster you get to release pain. As you get older, how old are you, man?
46.
46. How old are you?
48.
48. Shit, I'm old. How old are you? You still got a 3. How old are you? First digit. Oh, come on.
51.
51. Thank you very much. You know, the older you get, the less pain you want. Anybody?
No more pain.
Now, we're all essential pieces of the universe. Now, imagine if you have that belief system that without, we've all put together puzzles. Right? Have you seen that movie, The Accountant, with Ben Affleck?
Yes.
Anybody see that about his autistic brother? The one piece that's going, ah! That one piece is you. Imagine if your belief system is, without my piece in the puzzle, the universe is not complete. Without my contribution to humanity, and without my physical presence and my consciousness, the universe is not complete. What would happen to your self-esteem? How would you view yourself? Would you view yourself as more empowered?
Yes.
As more important and essential. Now you're an essential piece of the universe for a reason, to fulfill something that's contributing to the lives of others. You are the completion of the universe. Would that change your perspective of how you view yourself?
Sure.
Would that change your perspective of how other people view you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Should.
Would that change how you think how other people view you?
Yes.
Would that matter less how other people viewed you?
Yes.
Right. We're all one, man. We're all connected. So when you look in the, I always say, if you want to see God, look in the eyes of another. First of all, look in the mirror. Look in your own eyes. Secondly, look into the eyes of other people. So when you have that consciousness, that it doesn't matter what this meat suit looks like, right? Because our meat suit is our own level of consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You go to different cultures have different diets, have different habits. You know what I mean? So that's their level of consciousness, but when you look at them, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to want to live your life like them. But when you look in their eyes and you see God in their eyes, how you view yourself and how you view everyone else changes. Now we're going to talk about that in the next section, Exercising Love, is actually how to view and see the innate in other people. And when you see innate in other people, then you realize we're all connected. All your relationships change, your business changes, your whole consciousness changes. You become less critical of other people, less critical of yourself. Why? Because you're operating from a divine reference point. So we're all here together. We're not here to do things by ourselves. Now, when we have a gift, our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. The greatest strength of a totally independent, driven person is a great strength because you'll be a high achiever. But what's a weakness? I can do it myself. Until you realize you burn out, and then you need to leverage other people, and then you become an entrepreneur, and then you realize, I don't want to do that stuff. Right? I got to work too hard. But what's that? With every gift, there's something on the other side. It's not a fault, it's just the other side of that gift. A person that's very driven will tend to be impatient. A person that's very loving will tend to want acceptance from other people. Right? They don't want to hurt other people's feelings, so they have weak boundaries, and now other people take advantage of them. So it's not that that's a fault, it's just you have the gift, but you haven't mastered the other side. It's understanding both sides. Now, when we understand that, we begin to understand our humanity. We see it from the reference point of divinity, and now we have power. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Our mind is a strategic tool. That's what it is. Our mind is given to us as a tool. We are not our mind. So a tool is like if you're screwing in, you have a screwdriver and you're screwing in a screw, preferably a drill, right? And you screw in and you drill in that screw. What do you do with the drill when you're done?
Put it back.
Do you identify with it? Do you say, I am the drill?
No.
No, that would be totally ridiculous.
Just the
We are
name.
not our mind. But because we have conversations in our conscious mind, we think that those thoughts are real.
Yeah.
But our mind is a strategic tool. Its basic fundamental goal is survival. Which means what? It doesn't want you to take risk. Why? Because it wants you to survive. But your sole purpose is all about risk. So what's that? Because you're going to have to create something that's never been created in the world, because you've never existed in the world fulfilling that sole purpose, because you're going to do it the way you do it. Right? So that means whatever you're going to create is going to take risk. So what's your mind going to tell you?
Don't do it.
Can't do it. Don't do that. It's going to give you tons of fear. It's going to give you all these things because that's its job. Now, when you understand it's a tool And you are not the voice in your head. The problem is that voice in your head sounds a lot like your voice. But you are consciousness before the voice. So when your mind is chattering all this stuff, what you can say is, I don't need you right now. I'm not in a life-threatening situation. Thank you. I don't need you right now. And you can literally put it down. That's what meditation is learning how to calm your mind, right? And you get in theta, ever listen to theta brainwave music, it gets you into a connection with innate.
Good to listen to before bed.
Right. So our mind is a tool, and you realize, I am not my mind. Say, I am not my mind. Touch your body, I'm not my mind.
I'm not my mind.
Now, would that be a great thing to say when your mind's chattering? I'm not my mind, I'm spirit first. Then you can learn to listen to your mind. You observe the voice, detached from what it's saying. How powerful would that tool be? Knowledge in our mind, we're not our mind. Our mind has thoughts based on our past experience. That's what it's going to do. The mind uses known information to deduce or construct a probability of future events. So what's all this mean? Your subconscious mind rules 95 to 99% of your life. Why? Because your mind is a deletion. Your brain is a deletion mechanism. What's that mean? Once it knows something, it files it in your subconscious mind like a filing cabinet in your garage. Why does it do that? Because you can't be conscious of friggin' everything you've ever thought of or every experience of your life. You'd be friggin' schizophrenic, right? Those are schizophrenic people. Their mind won't shut up. They have multiple voices. It's all the voices of their past. So the thing is, when something happens in your life, then your mind goes, okay, what am I supposed to do? Oh, here's how I'm supposed to react. Pulls out the file, and you have emotionally triggered behavior. Anybody besides me ever do something, go, why the hell do I always do that?
Because it's a habit.
Because it's wired in your mind, because it's a habit.
Right.
So how do you change it? Create new
Habits.
exactly, and new belief systems. So once you know that, your mind loves certainty. Why? Because it loves certainty because it wants to survive.
Right.
So it loves certainty. So it loves what's known. But you're going to create what's unknown. There's the dichotomy between your mind and your spirit. Your mind and your heart don't always match. But when your heart rules your mind, so if your mind is a strategic tool and its goal is to solve problems and everything in your life is freaking amazing, what's your mind going to do? Create a what?
Problem.
Problem. Do you ever have a day where you're like, everything's going great, I'm just happy, and your voice says, we just heard this from Michael Beck with you. Then you have a voice that goes, man, something's going to go wrong. Or everything's great in your relationship and one little thing, and you focus on it.
Yes.
Because you want to fix it. Because there's one little thing in your relationship where we have a great relationship. And so we go through this, like something will happen, and I'll go, Jada, we don't have a problem right now.
That's
We
right.
don't have a problem. Because what do we want to do? I already understand that your mind wants to create a problem. It'll perceive something, it'll lock onto it because it wants to solve it. So it creates a problem, it creates a perspective that's a problem when you don't have any problems. And so once this is really important to understand the difference between our humanity and our divinity. Once we understand, look, here's what I'm doing right now. My mind wants to solve a problem. Maybe I'll pull out a puzzle. Let me distract it with something else. Maybe I'll open up some emails, or I don't know what I'll do, but whatever problem you're creating, you realize, I don't have a freaking problem. I must want something to solve. So now what you do, you visualize. These are tools. So at that moment, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to visualize what my intentions and what my goals are. Now I raise my state. Now I get into a state of peace. I say I'm splendid, I'm magnificent, I'm fulfilling my soul purpose every day, I'm empowered, I have God energy, I have life force energy, I'm in total peace. Okay, now breathe that in. Now, what do I want to solve now? I want to take my business to the next level. Wow, what do I need to do? Let me innovate. How can I market? How can I solve this problem? Tony Robbins, when you're in the right state, you find the right strategy. Albert Einstein, don't ever solve a problem with the same mind that created it. Right? So you get into a higher consciousness, and then you give it things to solve. Because if you don't do that, what's it going to do on its own? Create a what?
Problem.
Go back to the problem.
Create a what?
Problem.
Problem. And now you take a perfectly great situation and you screw it all up. Because your mind is searching for something to solve. That's our humanity. Now, this is all about honoring God within yourself. About what?
Honoring God within
Honoring
yourself.
God. This is how you do. This is how you do it. And this is how you get back to your divinity when you get immersed in your humanity. Seventh spiritual law of success, object referral. You're always influenced by objects outside yourself. Right? You're constantly seeking approval from others. What's that mean? It means you identify with things outside yourself. You identify with what's the house I live in. You identify with what's the car I'm driving. You identify with your bank account. Now, do we live in an abundant world? Yes. Do we need it? Not need, but can we have those desires to drive nice cars, have a bunch of money, because money is really a spiritual tool that we can fulfill our sole purpose, right? God wants us. Jesus led an abundant life. I mean, he came into the world, he had frankincense and myrrh, and by today's standards, it'd be millions of dollars, right? He was crucified, they fought over his clothes, he traveled with an entourage, he had boatloads of money because prosperity is our innate nature. However, when you're ruled by it, right? When you're ruled by it, then your identity becomes far more fragile because everything outside of you changes. So instead, and we tend to be fear-based, instead, when your referral is yourself, meaning God within you, you have power. Will you have prosperity? Well, you can choose it or not choose it. That's up to you, but it doesn't rule you. You can appreciate it, but it doesn't rule you. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You live in a much more empowered state. Spiritual journey does not consist of arriving at a new destination. What's that mean? It's not about becoming who you need to be. Your divine reference point is not about becoming, it's about letting go of what isn't true, because you already exist, right? You don't have to become what you are not. It consists of the dissipation. What's that? What's that word? Say it again. Dissipation. What's that mean? Releasing. It means letting go of what? One's own ignorance concerning oneself. It's letting go of the ignorance of who you really are. Isn't that fascinating? And life, and the gradual growth, understanding recipient spiritual awakening, the finding of God is coming to oneself. That's capital S, that means your God self. Meaning finding God within yourself is a spiritual awakening. That means awakening to who you are, your purpose, coming into your power, and having a reference point that isn't ruled by opinions or any conditions outside of you. It's being before doing, gang. Now here's a challenge in today's world. We have task lists, and people have their things I have to do, things to do lists, and some people are ruled by that. If I get things done, then I feel good about myself. If I don't get them done, then I don't feel good. That's a life driven by tasks. That's a human doing, not a human being. It's much about, and we were raised a lot like that. Why? Because how did we give and receive love from our parents? Hey, you know what? If you were a great athlete, I got more attention from my mom or dad. I got attention and acceptance from my coach. I got attention and acceptance and acknowledgement from people at school. You know what I mean? If you're good at sports, it could be now as you get older, it could be financial status. It could be, typically when you're young, it's the rewards you get, because parents reward good behavior. And what it does is it conditions us that love is exchanged by what we do and not who we are. And I'm touching my brain, because actually it gets wired into your subconscious mind. Then we develop a self-esteem based on accomplishment rather than who we are. We base the self-esteem on what we do rather than who we are. And that's not our identity. That's a very fragile existence. And it's very common because we seek acknowledgement. That's how we were conditioned when we were young. Comparison and competition. Being cannot be thought. It can only be experienced. That's it. So when you say honor God within yourself, that's the experience. What is it?
The experience.
How do you create the experience? Through habituation. It's through these things, through the affirmations, through touching your body, through breath, through getting that feeling from the inside out. So step one, meditate. What's that mean? Calm your mind. We need to find God. He cannot be found in the noise or restlessness. You can see God everywhere, but God is in the silence. He's in the space between the noise. So when we get quiet, we calm our emotional noise. Meditation is very powerful. You got to feel the energy in your body. You wire it into your body. If you breathe in, now just feel that energy. If you just focus, you don't think, breathe. And feel the energy in your body. Feel your metabolism and radiate it out. Almost like your whole body is swollen. Just radiate energy out. That energy is connecting with your spirit. When you're focused on feeling the energy, what's going through your mind? Focus on feeling the energy. What's going through your mind?
Quietness.
Nothing. How many times you meditate, I just can't stop the thoughts? Because you're not focused on feeling your body. How do you quiet your mind? Feel your body. How do you connect with your spirit? Feel your body. That's how you connect with the energy in your spirit. Total immersion in love and inner peace. Feel those feelings in your body now. This is how you condition yourself. Now imagine a thermometer, like mercury rising a thermometer. You breathe in. The earth has energy. Draw energy up from the earth. Shoot it all the way through your chakras, up through the top of your head. White light, 360 degrees, 3 feet around you. Breathe in. Rising up with breath. Breathe that in. And as you exhale, man, shower off everything in the past. Every belief system is gone. We're coming into present time. Breathe in. This is a habit that you do over and over. So the minute you're stressed, wait a minute, let me catch myself. I'm getting in an argument with my partner. I feel love. What do I want to experience? I want to experience love. Hey, you know what? What we're arguing about doesn't really matter. I feel love in my body. All I want is love. Just give her a hug. Boom. Come back right to center. You can do it that fast. This is something you habituate. What do?
Habituate.
1, meditate. 2, breathe. Breathing interrupts thought. Now, the minute your mind is racing, you ever get anxious or stressed? Man, this is coming. I got to do this in 2 weeks. And what about this? I got to do this tomorrow. And I got to get this done and this and this. You ever get like that? Anybody besides me? And what do? Wait.
Breathe.
Come into presence, man. There's only right now. How many people know the whole freaking world can change in 2 hours? How fast can your world
A
change?
second.
With a phone call, right? Somebody that runs a red light. You know, I mean, you can go from heaven to hell, so to speak, that fast. Now, we have consciousness, you don't attract those things. But when you're anxious and in that state, you certainly are moving in that direction.
That's true.
Stop, breathe, catch yourself. I am divinity, I am divine, I am power, I am life force. I am life force, God energy in me, radiating in every cell of my body right now. I feel it in my body, in every space between the cells. Breathe in. Man, all of a sudden your mind is quiet, your body feels different. You feel a state of peace. Okay, now what do I want to do? Where was I? Let me look at everything I'm doing right now from a different perspective. Hey, you know what? That's 2 days from now. The whole world will be different in 2 days. I don't need to handle that right now. This, right in front of me, my spouse, this project, whatever it is, this meeting right now has my sole attention. That's coming into presence. That's why use breath as a tool. Flow like a river, man. Inhale white energy, exhale negative emotions. When you feel stress, imagine breathe it out like black dust. All negative emotions getting out of you. You appreciate it. Your body's filled with white light. Have gratitude for negative energy. Number 2, believe. Anyone says this mountain, throw yourself into the sea. But when you believe what they say, how do you change beliefs? Through, begins with an H, sounds like habits. So if you want to change your beliefs, then develop different habits. There's no difference between someone who's highly successful and fulfilled and someone who's freaking miserable. The only difference is their habits. People that are highly successful, flat out, have different habits. They practice. They develop skill.
And when you say successful, you mean in all aspects of their life, like their relationships.
Well, yeah, you develop skill in every area if you want fulfillment, right? Michael Jordan, or LeBron James, I think it was, had to make 1,000 baskets, 1,000 what's his confidence level?
Huge.
Huge. You ever see when he's going to slam dunk? Does anybody get in his way? Not only is he huge, but they try to get in his way. Does he just mow over people?
Oh,
He
yeah.
gets above them and over them because 1,000 times a day. It's second nature. He doesn't have to think. Michael Jordan, same way. They don't have to think. When they get that ball and there's a couple seconds left, it's so skillful in practice, there's no thinking, right? There's just intention. Now that's believing. When you believe in your body. When you believe it where?
In your body.
In your body. Then express gratitude. Gratitude is the bridge between fear and love. That's it. When you're in fear and you want to go into love, say thank you for this. You go into gratitude. Gratitude is that bridge. Totally shifts your energy. You cannot exercise much power without gratitude. For gratitude keeps you connected. Gratitude is your innate connection to God. So what I want to do is take you through an exercise. Okay? Moving from fear into enlightenment. NLP, presupposition. Presupposition is something you can presuppose about yourself. We're going to go a few minutes over, but this will give you an exercise that will help you feel God in your body and be able, to take it home with you and do this anytime you want. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay if we do that when just a couple minutes late?
Yes.
Yes.
Every behavior is motivated by a positive intent. Even the worst fear. It doesn't mean it has a positive impact, but it does mean it has a positive intent. Like jealousy has a positive intent. Does jealousy have a positive impact in a relationship?
No.
No. So it can have a negative impact, but what's it trying to do? Protect you from what?
Hurt.
From being hurt. So it has a positive intent. So when you realize every challenge has a positive intent, every behavior has a positive intent, then when you find the emotion that creates the positive intent and you can clear it, then you don't have that behavior anymore. How cool is that?
Cool.
So, what behavior would you like to change that's interfering with your relationships in life? This isn't a rhetorical question. This is a literal question. Is there a behavior in your life that you feel is hindering you from having the quality of relationships or something you really desire in your life that you feel has been a problem or a barrier? How many people have one? Do you know exactly what it is? Okay, so here's what we want you to do. What is the emotion that triggers that behavior? So you think about the behavior, now think about what is the emotion that triggers that behavior? Do you know what it is? How many people know what it is? Typically it's fear. There's some type of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay? Now find the positive intent behind the motivation. So what I want you to do is feel that fear and touch your body where you feel it. Put your hand on your body where you feel that fear. Okay? Which everybody has on their heart, which you already know it's fear. And what's really the basic underlying fear? Fear of not being loved.
Yeah.
Whether by ourselves or someone else, right?
Good
Which is
enough.
really always ends up by ourselves. Okay? Now what I want you to do is look at that behavior, because what's motivating it? Fear. I want you to look at that behavior and I want you to go alongside it and have gratitude for it. Say thank you. Now can someone name that fear? Name what that behavior is.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. So what's the behavior? You don't feel like you're not good enough, but what's the behavior?
Fear.
That's the motivation.
Doubt.
Maybe self-doubt when you approach
Self-doubt.
something. Okay? That would be
Self-doubt.
behavior.
Mhm.
So you shy
Self-doubt.
away from being vulnerable in relationships. Right? You may sabotage relationships. So what you do is say thank you.
Thank you.
That doubt
That doubt.
is actually protecting me from risk. Right? So put your hand on that feeling, close your eyes, and fill your body with gratitude for that behavior. Because without that behavior, you wouldn't have protected yourself. So feel gratitude come alongside. Fill it with gratitude. Love that behavior. You can't change it by resisting it. You release it by loving it. So feel love in your body for that behavior. Close your eyes, breathe it in, and say it. I know you're trying to serve me in a positive way. I know you're trying to serve me in a positive way. Thank you. I'm grateful that this behavior is trying to help. I'm grateful and loving this behavior is trying to help. Now, when you truly feel gratitude, say yes.
Yes.
Fill yourself with gratitude. When you feel gratitude, say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you were totally protected, feel totally protected, so you have no worries about that fear, what would be the next higher intent? If you had no fear to worry about, what would you experience?
Love.
The love.
Love.
You experience love.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay? So what I want you to do is feel love in your body. And thank yourself. Say, I'm so thankful that I'm so protected. I can now experience love. I don't have to worry about fear. Thank you that I can experience love and feel love filling your body. Feel it filling your body as you're actually experiencing it now in every cell of your body. Now, when you're full of love, what would be, love is already taken care of. You don't have to think about it. Man, you are so loving. You're loving with yourself. You're loving with other people. What would be the next higher intent that you'd have? What's even above love when we're climbing that ladder? If love is already done, what's the next higher thing?
Gratitude.
Gratitude? What else?
Joy. Bliss.
Joy, bliss. Anything else?
Fulfillment.
Fulfillment.
Self-fulfillment.
Okay. What?
Self-fulfillment.
Self-fulfillment. So what I want you to do, breathe in that self-fulfillment. Fill your body with it. Breathe in joy. Breathe in bliss. Breathe in that experience and experience it in every cell of your body right now. Breathe it in. Now, if you have love and joy and you're full of that, feel it full in your body. You're so full of it. What do you want to do with that?
Share.
Share.
You want to share it. Now imagine you're so full of love and joy that now you're giving it to other people. Now feel that you have so much overflowing out of you that you just want to give it. There's so much inside you can't even stop it. It's pouring out of you. It's like a river coming over a dam. Dam doesn't even matter. It's pouring out of you that you want to give it. Feel yourself giving love to other people. Fill your body with the desire just to give love. You can even see people in your life that are important to you, that you're giving love. Feel people even that you don't know. It's all humanity. You're just giving love because that's who you are. You just radiate that emotion. Breathe it in. By the way, this is how you take your relationship to the next level. This is how you take your business to the next level. This is how you take everything in your life to the next level. So feel it in your body. This is important for you to experience. If it's knowledge in your head, it doesn't mean anything. If you feel it in your body, it'll change your life. So now that you're giving love, what's the next higher level? What's even above giving love?
Receiving.
Receiving, we're already so full of it, you're already receiving it. Sharing, what's even above that? If you're totally loving, what's the next higher consciousness?
Seeing other people share the love.
Seeing other people share it? What else? What about your divinity? If you were so loving and you're sharing it with humanity, how would you feel about who you are? Would you feel at a higher consciousness?
Yes.
Would you feel more connected to God?
Sure.
Would you feel like you're more connected to the universe?
Yes.
Would you feel more divine?
Yes.
So take that in. Feel your divinity. Feel like you have a total connection, fulfillment and bliss, like all of a sudden you know God. Breathe now you're familiar with it. You see it in other people. You see God in the things around you. You see God in everything that you see, in the trees, in the traffic, in other people's stress. Breathe that in. Breathe that in. Feel it in your body. Now experience it in your body. You know God. Wow, how amazing is that? If you know God, then you know yourself. Now you have a divine reference point. So that's knowing God. What's the next higher level? If you know God and you feel it, then what's the next higher level? Serving God.
You become a servant to God.
You become a servant to God. But God isn't bigger than you are. We're the same. So what are you? It's unity.
You're closer
In
to
unity
God.
with God and serving. Yeah, you're closer. You're totally connected. Right? If you know God, then are you connected? How many people have kids? How many people know their kids? Man, you know them inside out. What's that connection, innate connection you have with your kids? Now, when you look at parent as a kid, then look at that same connection with God. Feel oneness with God. Matt, can you imagine that? Breathe in. This is the next higher level. Breathe in and feel, I am the Spirit. I'm a child of the loving universe. Man, not only do I know God, I'm one with God. Feel the joy and the bliss and the peace of above all things in the physical world, above even my own humanity, that higher consciousness, that I'm totally connected. Breathe that in and feel it in your body. Now, take that feeling of being one with God and put it into discovering God. Feel that into discovering God. Take being one with God and take that into bliss. Take that same feeling into bliss. If you're one with God, how do you look at bliss?
Achievable.
It's all automatic. Bliss is automatic. I'm one with God. What's bliss? That comes with it. That's a product. So is bliss easy when you're one with God?
Yes.
It's automatic. It's who you are. You're automatically in the state of bliss and peace. You're one with God. There's nothing higher. So bliss is a natural emotion. Would you agree?
Yes.
Now, if you're one with God, bring that into giving love. What's your ability to, if you're one with God and you feel God inside you, what's your ability to give love? It's unlimited. To who? Everyone.
Around you.
Everyone.
Yeah.
What's your ability to receive love? If you're one with God, what's receiving love?
Sorry.
Do you even have to think about it? No, because you are love. There is no giving and receiving. There's just you are. Say, I am.
I am.
One with God.
One with God.
What's the product of that? Bliss, love, service. It's automatic. You don't even have to think about it. There is no problems in your relationship. Now take, I'm one with God all the way into fear and protection. What's that feel like? You're one with God. What do you need to protect yourself from? Do you need protection?
No.
It becomes unnecessary. It doesn't exist. Why would you even need it? Why would you need something that doesn't exist? Breathe in one with God. Total connection. Thank you. Do we need any protection? Are we threatened by anything?
No.
Do you have fear at that level?
Not really.
What do you see?
Love.
Opportunity. You see love and opportunity.
No fear.
You see relationship. You know, do insecurities exist at that level?
No.
No, because those are perceived. What are insecurities? Trying to protect you from what?
Hurt.
Fear. Hurt. Of what? You're one with God. Does God have hurt?
Nope.
No.
No, you're one with God. That's who you are. Now here's what I'd like you to do. Breathe that feeling of one with God. Now what I want you to do is point to the past. Point as if you're looking at the past. Point to the present. Point straight down. Point to the future. Point to the past. Point to the present. Point to the future. Now what I want you to do is feel one with God. Now this is going to take a little imagination. Imagine yourself in your mother's womb. Now you don't have to recall it, although some may. But just imagine, use your imagination in your womb the moment before you're born. And take that, you're just a baby in your mom's womb, you're about to be born, and feel one total unity and oneness with God in your mother's womb. You're about to come out into the physical world totally connected to God. Feel that. And then you come out of your mother's womb. Now go to 2 years old. You're one with God. Imagine yourself. I don't know what your early memories is. It doesn't really matter. Imagine just a baby, 2 years old. You're really learning how to walk and talk, right? But you're totally one with God. Feel that consciousness. Go to 5 years old. You're getting into kindergarten. Go to 8 years old. You're in 3rd grade in elementary school. Now, imagine your life, but you're one with God. How do you look at those conditions in your life? How do you look at how your parents act? Do they really know oneness with God when they're sitting there yelling at you and have their own problems? They don't know, but you know. So how do you look at them? With empathy. Are you trying to get love from them and creating self-esteem if you're one with God?
No.
No. How do you look at them? With compassion.
With love.
Because they don't understand who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But you do. Do you know that's why you came into their life, to show them who they are? Right? You just may not, but now you know. Go to 12 years old. Go to 15 when you're trying to establish who you think you are, but you're already one with God. How do you feel as a teenager? How do you look at other people that are trying to fit in and discover who they are? But you're one with God. Imagine going through those situations in life with the total perspective that you're one with God. Do you experience pain?
No.
Do you have emotion? What's the only emotion you feel?
Love.
Begins with an L and sounds like love.
Bliss.
Go through your 20s. I know as I was in my 20s, I was doing lines of crystal meth and a bartender every day. Going through school, coming home, doing organic chemistry at 11 at night because I was trying to become a doctor, but I was a bartender. I poured my way through school. So what I do? A line of methadone. Freaking keeps you up at night. Good way to get your chemistry homework done. Right? But imagine if you're going through, if you did drugs, if you did relationships, if your parents went through a divorce, and you're one with God. See yourself in those situations, doing the things you're doing, but with the consciousness of oneness with God. Maybe there was physical abuse. Maybe there was sexual abuse. It's just other people expressing their pain, but you have a consciousness of one with God. Maybe you're being criticized by your parents. Maybe they wanted you to take a different path, but you have a different soul path, and they didn't understand. But you have an understanding of oneness with God. Go into your 30s. For you, that's right now. Right? Imagine consciousness of oneness with God. Come into your place right now and feel oneness with God. How do you feel? Now imagine 10 years from now, you still have oneness with God. What's your life look like? 20 years from now, you still have oneness with God. Now here's what I want you to do. Feel oneness with God, go back to the mother's womb. There you are, oneness with God. Okay, you're born. Now we're going to go faster. Go to age 2, oneness with God. Age 5, oneness with God. Age 8, age 12, age 15, feel oneness with God. You're going through the timeline of your life. The memories are flying by like flipping through a Rolodex. Oneness with God. You're in your 20s. You're 28. You're 35. You're whatever age you are now. You're 40. And you progress into the future. 10 years, 20 years. Oneness with God. Your whole life in consciousness is oneness with God. How do you feel? Go back into your mother's womb. Right now, put yourself in your mother's womb. Oneness with God. You're being born. 2, 5, go faster. 8, 15, 25, 32. Right? 40s. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Oneness with God. How's your life from now and into the future? How's your impression of your past? Oneness with God. You went through all these human experiences. Can you appreciate all the experiences from a higher consciousness? Go back into the womb one more time. Now I want you to race through birth, childhood, teenage years, 20s, 30s, 40s, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Oneness with God. Feel it in your body. Breathe it in. Now celebrate your life. Say yes.
Yes.
Say yes like you mean it.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
You feel it in your body. Then make a sound like you love, joy, you're one with God. Woo! Feel that in your body.
Yes.
Now here's what you do. Every time you think of an emotion in the past, you go through this exercise. Every time you want to feel empowered, everything in my life, I'm one with God. I always have been. It's who I've always been. I lived in my humanity. I didn't know my divinity, but now I know, and now I can look through my life as a divine being. I can see everything that happened had a reason. It was for my blessing. It was to give experiences. You came here to teach your parents. You came here to teach your teachers. You came here to teach your friends. You came here because your human story has a gift for people that haven't found their divinity, but you have discovered your true inner self. And because of that, you can live like this. And you can be an example to others. That's your purpose. Now, what vehicle are you going to use? You may already know it, or it may come to you in time. But the more you stay in this state, the more great things, the more things are going to fall in your lap, the more purpose, the more loving relationships, the more you get above all the stuff. So you can do this exercise from birth all the way till now through 10 and 20 years and create that vision. And hopefully today we created an experience that can change your reference point, that makes a difference in your life now, and you have the tools and you develop the skill and the courage to be able to take yourself through this process, your partner, and create a life that's way more empowered. So a month from today, we're going to go through the E section, and then we're going to go through forgiveness, and we're going to go through L, and I'm going to take you through multiple experiences. Multiple what? Experiences where you can actually live it, feel it in your body, vibrate at a different level, and take your life and fulfillment of your purpose. So I really appreciate you being here, taking the time. Sorry I went over. And I hope that we can use these. What I'd like you to do is, if we didn't have your information, sign the sheet with your email and phone number, because I'm going to be sending you quotes and things, and we can be interacting in the next month. What I ask you is, do you feel this was a benefit for you?
Yes.
Yes. Do you feel that other people in your life can benefit?
Yes.
I would ask you to bring 2 or 3 new people. We want to create the bigger the group, the more impact we can create, not only in people's lives, but we get more power in the group. A bunch of people obviously couldn't show, so we'll have a bigger group next time. Please bring, at least a couple more people next time, and let's go through this whole system, and let's live from our divinity. Thank you. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you.